Well, hello internet, it is Zonder here. In my previous video, I guys told you a fictional story that I found rather creepy. And for today's video, I decided I actually want to explore a more real story because I believe that reality is often scarier than fiction. So today I'm going to be telling you a story from the subreddit known as Let's Not Meet. This is a subreddit where people talk about creepy experiences they have with people, or stalkers, or just people that give away bad vibes. There is a lot of horrifying stories in the subreddit, and I think it's really good to go through because not only are these stories very terrifying to read, they're also just very educational in the sense it educates you on the signs you need to be aware of to avoid these kinds of situations. The story I'm going to read to you guys I think is just rather fitting for the moment because, as we're all aware, human trafficking, especially when it comes to children, has come into the public spotlight, and people are now finally gaining knowledge and awareness to how bad the situation truly is around the world. The story I'm going to read to you people today is called I Was Almost Kidnapped in Front of My Parents, and it was shared by user Super Sneaky Kitty 3. So yeah, let's jump into this story. This was back in the November of 2018 and takes place in North Carolina. I was 14 at the time. My family and I had just moved across states. We had just gotten to the city where we planned on living after a long road trip. We were all hungry, so decided to go grab dinner before we went to pick up the keys to our new house. We went to this local pizza shop. Since we had our dogs with us, because we hadn't moved into our house yet, we decided to eat in the car. I'm a pretty fast eater compared to the rest of my family, so I finished way before them. After I was done, I decided to bring my puppy out to do her business. We were standing just a little ways up from the car, playing in the leaves on the ground. I grew up in Florida, so I wasn't used to seeing piles of autumn leaves. So I was just living my best life, not paying attention to my surroundings. When a man taps on my shoulder, my dog notices him and immediately tries to jump on him, as she does with anyone, so I pulled her back while I'm backing away from him. He looks to be in his mid-40s, 50s. He smiles creepily at me, like it was forced. He says in his scruffy southern voice, "You have my dog, my border collie." Immediately a red flag goes off in my mind, as my dog looks very obviously like a boxer, nothing like a border collie. Now let me tell you, I'm horrible at confrontation, so I just say nervously, "I think you're mistaken, sir, this is my dog." Not even telling him how my dog does not look anything like what he was describing. I look over to my parents' car, that was just a couple of feet ahead of me, unsure of what to do. They hadn't even noticed the man approach me. They were on the phones. The man now asks me, "Well, would you be able to come help me look for my dog?" I could feel my stomach drop in that moment. I still don't want to make a scene, as I'm probably overreacting, but I've read my fair share of kidnapping and sex trafficking horror stories, so I have an idea in the back of my mind on what's going down. He then says something along the lines of, "I have some money in my truck for you," if I went with him. My hands are sweating at this point. This is something straight out of a Reddit thread. He points over to a very sketchy, run-down looking truck. I tell him I'm busy and I have to go, but best of luck to finding his dog. Still trying to keep him on my good side. Looking back on it now, I don't know why I didn't tell him my parents were right there. If I would have, I think he would have backed off. I overly worry about what others might think, so I was just trying to be polite and not make him mad. He then decides to grab my dog's leash and says he had dog treats at his truck and starts to walk away with my dog. I pull the leash away from him and say sternly, "I have to go now." As I start walking away, he then grabs my wrist and rips the leash out of my hands, throwing it to the ground. He starts pulling me with him, mumbling something like, "Just come see what I have for you." My dog, the sweet good girl, she follows after us and starts barking. Well, he starts to drag me with him. I'm pretty small, 5'4", and have no upper body strength, so I just start screaming to let go of me. My parents alarmed hearing me scream and our dog chasing after me barking. Sees this man pulling the daughter against her will. They immediately start sprinting after me. I start screaming, "Mom, Dad." I think he got alarmed when he heard me yell out, "Mom," as she starts running towards us. The sudden realization that my parents were right there in the car the whole time. He makes a run for it, and we didn't run after him. My parents were just glad they had me. This is definitely not a good way to start off our new life in North Carolina. Not even have I lived there a day yet. I do not wish this to happen to anyone, as it was terrifying. But my advice for you is, don't be afraid to use your words, even if they offend the person. Then is not the time to worry about what others think. So yeah, that is why I shared this story, because it honestly feels very real to me. It feels like it comes from a very honest point. I think as people we need to just be very aware of the tricks and the stunts that these disgusting individuals will pull to take advantage of someone. We live in a disgusting world, people, and we have to be on constant high alert of what's happening around us, because anybody can end up being a victim of human trafficking. It's so easy to fall in that dark, disgusting world. And that's why I thought this was just such an appropriate story to share, because it's happening right now as we speak. I mean, someone's been kidnapped as this video is out now. But at least this girl was aware enough to know that this man was dangerous. I'm so glad she had that knowledge, she had that self-awareness to go, this situation is wrong and I need to call out for help, because this man clearly had no good intentions for her. And I guess she could also be grateful that her parents were just around there to be able to assist and help the moment she called out for help, because in a lot of cases that nobody helps. They just see the situation, they ignore it, and someone ends up being kidnapped. I also think this is maybe why it's worth sharing these kind of stories, just to spread that awareness that people just need to be wary of the surroundings. So that is it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, just give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel and would like to see more, you can subscribe. I have also other social medias you can follow, such as Twitter and Instagram. I'll be leaving links to those in the description below. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are finding every bit of joy you need to find in these very terrible times, and I just hope things are going away, and honestly wish the best for you. Thanks for watching. This is Zonda, signing off.